What is going on, Neon Nation? Welcome back to the channel for a Cyberpunk 2077 news video. We do have a ton to go over today, including data mined multiplayer files, hinting at 2 separate game modes, CDPR's explanation and apology for the state of Cyberpunk 2077, VR and third-person mods, and debunking some rumors. Before we do jump into the flurry of Cyberpunk and CDPR news, today's video is brought to you by NordVPN. NordVPN is a virtual private network, which is a service that protects your internet connection and privacy online by encrypting your data as well as hiding your IP address. If you're worried about pesky netrunners, the government, or even your internet service providers getting their hands on your digital data footprint, worry no longer, as NordVPN is one of the most trusted VPN services and has been featured and recommended by the likes of Wired, Forbes, BBC, and TEDx, just to name a few. NordVPN has a whopping 5,200 plus lightning quick servers across 59 countries, features double data encryption for the added peace of mind of increased anonymity, as well as a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk up front in getting on board with Nord. Listen, as someone who lives in the Great White North and doesn't have access to all the awesome offerings that Netflix US has, NordVPN has been the cure for the forever scroll curse, where I'm endlessly scrolling through Netflix Canada's offerings and not really finding what I want to watch. With NordVPN, I can fire up Netflix and browse what all regions have to offer, whether that's from the US or the UK or somewhere in between, bypassing geo-blocks to enjoy more content. Using Nord is also incredibly easy and streamlined, and Nord will never track, collect, or share your private data with anyone, period. With 24/7 customer support, you won't be left in the dark either when using Nord. Now, Nord has extended the channel a fantastic discount, so go to nordvpn.com/theneonarcade or use the Neon Arcade to get a discounted 2-year plan with 1 additional month free of cost. This is a service that I'm actively using and loving, so make sure to check out the link in the description and the pinned comment to get started with Nord. Moving into the Cyberpunk content, let's get some of the more exciting news out of the way first, with the recent data mining of Cyberpunk, which shows a variety of lines of text that can be found in the game's executable files that reference 2 multiplayer modes in heists and team deathmatch. I know a ton of Cyberpunk fans are not overly into the multiplayer, but you can't refute that this will give the franchise more longevity. Also, there seems to be some kind of confusion about who's working on what, so just for clarification, a completely separate team is working on the multiplayer. Back to the data mined content, we first have the heist functions in the code that have been compiled. In this list we have set heist state, set spawn point tag that will be used to spawn new players during the mission, and a spawn tag. We also have mp.heist debug message name changed, mp heist message player ready, and mp heist set player character class. We also have text for a ready up function and players entering and joining the match, and pieces of code that refer to character classes we'll likely be able to pick for these heist missions, including the solo, assassin, netrunner, and techie. If this actually has any weight or indication into Cyberpunk Online, I think a heist mode naturally lends itself to incorporating all these character classes together to pull off unique gameplay moments and adventures that can potentially have a ton of depth to them. This seems to be more of an inspiration from the TTRPG that Cyberpunk is based on, with the solo being your heavy firepower class, the netrunner being your hacking class, the techie being the engineering class, and the assassin being your stealth class. Now, a little while ago we mentioned that Gabe Amatangelo had been hired to oversee the project, and he has worked on a fair number of asymmetrical multiplayer titles in the past, so this seems like it will be the mode that he looks after. We have a couple more files for the Cyberpunk heist which will be on screen. Now, the second mode pulled from the game's files is a basic team deathmatch, which was honestly not something I was really expecting. In the code we have players joining the match and basic kill text, but also some more unique lines that we're gonna list off. We have, "You sent yourself directly to hell, please don't come back." "Wow, you killed yourself, bravo." "Your bullet was stronger than your self-esteem." "Your shot destroyed your own body and soul." "You sent blank directly to hell." "Wow, you killed blank without compassion." "Your bullet was stronger than blank's head." "Your shot destroyed blank's body and soul." "Blank sent you directly to hell." "Wow, blank killed you without compassion." "Blank's bullet was stronger than your head," and "blank's shot destroyed your body and soul." Added to this, we have the ability to join a game in progress. Now, these seem to be very unique pieces of text for a deathmatch mode, so hopefully there is a unique spin to this deathmatch. I think a standard DM is pretty passe now, so I'm hoping that there is a reinfusion of innovation that will justify this game mode. Our next story today comes from CDPR themselves in the form of an apology video by CD Projekt's co-founder Marcin Iwiński for the launch of Cyberpunk 2077, which, as we all know by now, was riddled with technical bugs, glitches, and crashes that made the game suffer on mainly the last gen consoles, but also on all platforms in general. It's great to see them with this response and direct line of communication with the gamers, although this could also be a response to the most recent news that CDPR are being investigated by the Polish Consumer Protection Agency, who are asking the company for an explanation regarding the problems with the game and actions taken by them. In any case, Iwinski apologizes and states that the developmental team is not to blame, and that the decision for the game to be released in the state that it was lies solely on the board of directors. Iwinski goes on to mention that despite good reviews on PC, that the console versions were not up to the appropriate standard. Now, you could argue that PC reviewers were not allowed to share footage of their gameplay because of the bugs, which might actually be true, but that would have been factored into the PC scores regardless, even if actual footage was shown or not. If you guys remember, I did receive the game a week early, but only put out a full review after 100 hours with Cyberpunk with no score to boot, but I do think the bugs and technical issues, even on PC, did affect the scores of the reviews coming out when the embargo was lifted. Now, Iwinski goes on to mention that console codes were actually released on December 8th, although I was under the impression that they had not sent them out early at all. Now, this probably wasn't enough time regardless, and to be fair to the consumer, I do think that they knew that the console versions were in a precarious state. Iwinski cites streaming issues and the bandwidth of consoles being a struggle, and goes on to give some details on the process. I know a lot of people wanted mention of the cut content, but this apology seems to be mainly aimed at the bugs and the technical issues. A roadmap was also shown for 2021, which was the most disappointing part of the video for me personally. There are no dates on here, and yes, the bug fixes and optimizations are going to take a good chunk of what seems to be Q1 and Q2, with free DLC and the true next-gen versions coming late 2021. I am glad that they're sticking with their promise to nurture this franchise, and honestly, this is probably one of the best things to happen to CDPR for the future. You only truly learn from hardships and failure, and this is going to be reflected upon in the future, where maybe management will actually listen to its developers over feeling the pressure from investors or the allure of holiday sales. I also do think that the apology here is remorseful, and if you're a Cyberpunk fan, there is a lot to look forward to, with the eventual Netflix anime, expansions, and multiplayer dropping in the future, which will help tell more stories in the Cyberpunk universe. Now, going back to the roadmap, there was a rumored leak via GameFAQ forums from an alleged CDPR developer around a week ago that detailed a No Man's Sky-like comeback, mentioning things like reintroducing the more advanced AI for the world's factions, big patches in March and June, and reintroducing many of the cut content elements that would allegedly make the game more on par with the depth shown off in the 48-minute demo. There's a ton of other things mentioned in here that actually got many of the fans excited, but these rumors have been squashed by CDPR on the forums, and most notably on their Twitter page with its millions of followers, meaning that this rumor was big enough that they decided to comment on it. Moving on, we finally have a VR mod currently being optimized, which if you have been following the channel is something that I've been wanting since I learned about this game in 2018. For those unaware, it seems like VorpX does support Cyberpunk 2077. This is a 3D driver and allows you to experience games like BioShock, Call of Duty, Battlefield, Fallout, and now Cyberpunk 2077 on your VR headset. You will need a pretty beefy PC to be able to run this in VR, but here's a little clip from the Low Sodium Cyberpunk Reddit showing off VorpX's capabilities with Cyberpunk 2077 in combination with some unique VR tech for your body. We also have a newly released third-person mod, something that a ton of fans have been looking forward to for quite a while now. Obviously, Cyberpunk 2077 has been created with only first person in mind, and you can see some pretty concrete evidence of this if you look at the shadows of your character in-game, which even at its best looks like something out of a horror film. For a first mod, this isn't awful, and I'm sure we'll get a third-person mod with less rigid and unnatural animations with time. Now, I'm going to be making a video on some of the best mods I've come across, but for now, those are some of the standouts and an insight into the future of modding with Cyberpunk. That's all for today, guys. Thank you all for watching, and for more Cyberpunk content, join the Neon Nation by subscribing.